Welcome to Invisible Me, a podcast centred around invisible health issues and the feeling of not being seen and heard. Yet here I am, standing right in front of you. Does this sound familiar? Well, come join the conversation. Share your experiences. Let's break down those norms and attitudes for the better. This is a safe space to chat with me, Pat. Welcome, Nikki Moon, my guest of the evening. Thank you for coming along and sharing some time with us. And we met networking in Skipton, sunny Skipton. It was brilliant. And after a conversation, you said, Pat, I'd love to talk a little bit more about type 1 diabetes. But Nikki has a beautiful surname, Nikki Moon, and her company name is Moon Education. She tutors and has been a primary school teacher, so I think she just needs a round of applause for being in the world of primary school education and working in the education system. Not easy. The actual doing part is lovely. Been there myself. It's the paperwork, the rules, all that red tape, all that hidden stuff and behind can cause stress and stress on the body, which we want to talk about in Visible Health, type 1 diabetes. Welcome, Nikki. How are you today, actually?
I'm good. Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Very good. How are you?
Brilliant. It's a long story. I'm okay. It's the usual living with an autoimmune disease. I'm coming out of a flare-up. Okay. I've had a really bad flare-up, but I'm getting there. I'm turning the corner. I know what diabetes is. I think I do. And most people listen, I'll go, oh yeah, I know what diabetes is. It's something to do with insulin, and some people inject themselves. That's how much we know. So I did a quick Google search yesterday, and this is what I've come up with. Type 1, it is an autoimmune disease. The body attacks insulin-producing cells in the pancreas, which leads to a lack of insulin. That is it. That was the definition.
Interesting.
So let's start at the beginning of your journey.
Okay.
How old were you? Like, what was the journey till you got your diagnosis?
So I was diagnosed at the age of 30, which is, it's becoming more common now that people are diagnosed later in life. However, originally type 1 diabetes was known as juvenile diabetes because quite often you develop it when you were a lot younger.
Right.
So yes, I was 30 and my family always joke, they're like, what a great 30th birthday present. So yeah, I was 30 and I'd kind of been displaying sort of the classic symptoms. But I sort of found other things to kind of blame them on. So there was like the extreme tiredness, but as we've said, I was working as a primary school teacher, so I kind of put that down to that. There was extreme weight loss, but I'd come off the contraceptive pill, so I kind of blamed it on that. And then it was only kind of one of the later stage symptoms is obviously which I think is kind of the most commonly known one, is the extreme thirst. And I can never quite, I mean, I'm not a big drinker, as in I don't really drink alcohol, but I'm not a big drinker, as in I'm not very good at taking on fluids in the daytime and things.
Most of us aren't, actually. It has to be very consciously done because you're told you need to up your water. But water seems simple to drink, but it's not always.
No. So for me, the fact I was so thirsty was really unusual. And the thirst, I can never quite explain it to anyone, but it was like I would flush the toilet and I would think, oh, that water looks delicious. Like it was.
Wow.
It was.
You really were craving.
Yeah, it was extreme. Just any kind of water in the shower. It was just like this really instinctive urge for water, which, as I've said, I don't really like drinking water, so it was really unusual.
Were you a bit frightened about this? Were you a bit alarmed, like, why is my body... And literally your body was screaming, I need water, I need moisture. Did that scare you or alarm you? Or
I think that was the trigger, sort of, for me to then, because I think I'd gone to my parents that evening for dinner, and my dad had seen how much I was drinking, and he was like, you need to go to the doctors. And I think sometimes you know you need to go, but you need someone to kind of tell you that you need to go. So I went, and I think I dropped the day after. I rung and I kind of explained my symptoms and things. And really luckily for us, the doctor at one of the nurses at our GP surgery is married to the at the time, kind of the head doctor of the diabetes department at our local hospital.
Good to know. So, yes, that was handy.
Yeah, so she was kind of really on it. So I dropped a urine sample off at lunchtime. And then I remember I let the kids out at 3:30 and they rung me and they were like, you need to come down to the doctor's surgery now.
Oh, Lord.
And then I think they did a further blood test to kind of confirm things. Obviously, they couldn't diagnose there and then. So then I got sent to ambulatory care at our local hospital, and they put me on a drip for fluids. That was one of the first things they did.
So just jumping in there, I mean, that was all scary, but it was fast. And even though they couldn't diagnose us, their knowledge, their experience, they kind of went, tick, 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 she definitely is, but we must send her to the right place. After you had the drip intake, I don't know how long that takes, an hour or two.
Yeah.
Did you feel instant relief, instantly better? Or?
Yeah, it was just nice to not feel that thirst. I think that was the symptom that was the most, the most obvious symptom and the one that I could feel the most, if that makes sense, the thirst. Was
it through the night as well? Did you feel you were waking up when you went?
Yes.
Get up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
As we all do, and then go, I need to chug some more water.
But then obviously that's a cycle, because then you're chugging all the water, so then you're waking up. So probably sleep was affected as well. But it was so strange because, again, even the hospital couldn't give me the diagnosis there and then, because to know whether it's type 1 or type 2, they have to send off your blood and do this really complex blood test on it, which takes some time to come back. So I didn't have the official diagnosis for quite some time after. But it was so strange because they gave me the drip and then they just sent me home, because by this point it was like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And they were like, you'll be fine because you've had the drip. Come back tomorrow and see the diabetes team. So there was no one on shift that could teach me about insulin or anything like that.
So the drip was like a top up. It calmed your body down, and your body wasn't in that flight panic mode. You were like on a high alert. So was there a massive danger if you hadn't had that drip? Was there a chance you would have collapsed? I think a seizure. Is that why they were so worried? Said, okay, you've had the drip now. Take a breath. You'll be okay for another 24 hours, 48 hours till we give you more advice. Is that kind of what they were saying?
Yeah, and I think obviously in more extreme cases, people can end up unfortunately passing away from not being diagnosed, and there's a lot in the press recently about that happening with a little girl. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't, but we'll have a look now.
Yeah, really sad.
Wow. So my guess, being not aware of it all, were you in pain in your joints or anything? Or you just, the thirst was the overwhelming thing at the moment?
Pain, but I had strange things that I don't even know if they're classic symptoms of type 1 diabetes, but I would have spots on my face, but they would always be symmetrical. So if you look back at pictures from when I was diagnosed, if I had a spot here, there'd also be one here.
Matching on the other side.
Yeah, so strange. And I think that's probably like the lack of goodness in my body, maybe. Yeah. And then I had pins and needles in my arm. Never solved that one. I unfortunately suffered 2 miscarriages before I got diagnosed.
Oh, I'm really sorry to hear that.
Yeah, really.
So there's a possible link?
Yeah.
Highly likely? Yeah.
The doctors have said, obviously there's no way of knowing, but they would assume that my body was obviously just focusing on surviving and knew it wouldn't be able to support a new life, essentially. So there was other things.
So I'm thinking listeners, and like myself listening to you now, okay, you had the extreme thirst. I mean, extreme. It was very visual, and I really get the picture. I just feel, I have a picture in my head like you just like a little fish, and you just wanted to get into that pond and breathe and relax and go, I found water. The other thing was that quite a short period. All of a sudden, you weren't showing other symptoms, maybe tired and some of the things you were talking about, but all of a sudden you were very thirsty. Could you have been diagnosed earlier? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I would say the thirst was probably maybe the week before I was diagnosed. It was really extreme and really sudden. So I've honestly never considered that question before. It's really interesting, but I don't think I could have been diagnosed
No.
earlier.
It's just there's a sense of urgency and awareness, and for people listening, honestly, don't hang around if you have this extreme thirst, or your body's just not behaving what you normally experience, and like you said, rashes, spots, tingling of the arms. Just go to A&E. Don't hang around for a doctor appointments, because that can be, unless it's an emergency, you may not get in. So let's not be passive about it. Act. It's better to check out and them say, no, you haven't got anything.
And I think there needs to be a really big push, especially with GPs, kind of that awareness there, because I know, sadly, they can kind of, if they're not that knowledgeable on it, or it's not got to that extreme stage yet, they might not pick it up, and that can end really sadly for some people.
Yeah, can be fatal. I am aware of my own GP surgery and some others. It tends to be nurse practitioners, the higher qualified ones, that specialise in diabetes. And it's not always the GP, it's usually a diabetes nurse, a specialist one. So that's a good service, because they're usually very, very knowledgeable and very able.
Oh, yeah.
Very able. So after that, and your results finally came back, felt like forever waiting, I'm sure. So then you were confirmed you had type 1. What was the next steps? What was your treatment? What happened next?
Kind of before I had the official diagnosis, they were obviously treating me as if I had type 1, because they obviously knew I did, really, apart from that one test coming back. And so then obviously it was having to learn everything myself about type 1 diabetes, which was just, it's huge. And I think the thing with the condition is, you're always learning. Like that first year, I was kind of just thrown in, taught how to use insulin, roughly taught how to carb count. And then I was meant to go on a course called a Daphne course. I'm not quite sure what it stands for, but it's basically teaching you all about controlling your type 1 diabetes with insulin and carb counting, and how different types of food can affect how the blood sugars work in your body, and how long they take to come down, and your dosage of insulin, and the timing of the dosages of insulin. So it's quite, it can be quite mathematical at times.
It does sound very complex. And imagine if a younger, like I said, a younger person has this. I know the parents would have to manage it. But so it sounds like there's 3 big things in play. So insulin itself is something our body produces, but it can be too much of it or too little of it. Yeah. And the pancreas has to be healthy, and it supervises it, for the want of a better word. And then you mentioned food. Yeah. So then diet is key, but then it's healthy diet, but it's not really. You have to think of the sugars when it's the glucose, is that right? Yeah. So it's the type of... Yeah. Okay. And then the times of day. Yeah. And then if you need to administrate, or do you always have to administrate insulin? Is that a daily? Is it an injection? Yeah. Is it a patch? Is it a slow release gadget? What is it that you have to do?
My relationship with insulin throughout the day, I would probably inject at least 4 times a day.
Crikey.
At least.
Okay.
So you have, and that's a really good day if I'm only injecting 4 times. So you have something called long-acting insulin. So I'm on manual injections at the moment.
Like an EpiPen?
It looks like kind of like an EpiPen, but it's got insulin inside it, and you control. There's like a dial on the side where you can control the dosage that you're giving. But you have long-acting insulin and short-acting insulin. Okay. So your long-acting insulin, I give mine at the start of the day. And that's basically designed that it drip feeds over, I think mine's 36 hours now. Okay. It used to be 24, but then they've developed new insulins, long-acting insulins, which go for slightly longer. So when it was only 24 hours, I had to give it at exactly the same time every day. Whereas now, obviously, I've got that bit more time to play with. So that's definitely been a positive impact, because before, I was always injecting it in the week at 7 a.m. But then if I wanted a lie-in on a weekend, I felt like I had to wake up at 7, inject, and then try and go back to sleep.
Not good. Not ideal.
No. So this new longer-acting insulin has been a blessing, really.
Good.
And then you have something called short-acting insulin, which if you've seen type 1 diabetics injecting at meal times, that's what you'll see them injecting. So that is basically, if we compare it to, say, your pancreas, Pat.
Yes.
Your pancreas is drip feeding insulin all the time. So that's what my long-acting insulin is doing.
Okay.
And then when you have a meal, your body knows that it needs to kind of give a big surge of insulin.
Right.
So that's what my short-acting insulin is doing.
Okay, I get it now. I can picture that. I can understand why and what our body is doing. It's incredible what our body does. We take things for granted, and that's part of the problem. The condition is complex. The condition is serious. It can affect you in every other aspect in your health. Like you said, contraception and trying to start a family, career choices, your energy levels. It affects us in so many ways. It's a lifelong condition. You have to adapt your life. Then you've got to accept it, which is not always easy. That's a difficult journey itself in your head. And then making everybody else aware. I'm assuming that's something that's like coming out all the time, telling employers.
Yeah.
Do you have to carry a little ID card? So if you collapsed, say you're out in a shopping centre on your own, do you have to carry something with you on your wallet? Or
I do have a little card in my wallet which does say I'm a type 1 diabetic, and it does actually say on it which insulins I use.
Oh, good.
So I guess, I mean, I've never been in that situation, but I guess it's kind of providing that information that people would need straight away.
Good. No, you will not be in that situation. It's not going to happen. This is where we talk about invisible disabilities, invisible health conditions, because we're upright, dressed, functioning, working, getting on in the world. And actually there's a lot happening and people are not aware of.
Yeah. So
now, are you a year in now, 2 years?
7 years this time.
Oh, because you still look 30, everybody. When she said 30, I'm going, seriously?
Yeah.
She's over. She's in her 30s. But no, okay. So now do you feel a comfortable stage? You're used to it now. It has become way of life. And Diabetes UK, of course, there's a national organisation. Is things developing? Is there still research really happening? Because you said from 24 hours to 36 long.
Yeah.
So there is developments, there is progress happening to assist this illness.
Yeah, so my great-granddad, he had type 1 diabetes, but this was sort of in the, I don't know when he was born, but he was definitely, he couldn't go to war in World War II because of his type 1 diabetes, basically. So that's a good idea of his age. And my nan used to talk about how he would manage his, and the way the technology has advanced to now is just crazy. And I've seen such a difference in the time I've been diagnosed. So when I was first diagnosed, I was still finger pricking. So, getting the blood. And then now I use what's called a CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor, which is basically a little disc that has a needle that's kind of going into some layer in your skin that measures the glucose. It's a live reading, basically. I
have seen people wear these discs. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I was first diagnosed, obviously I was finger pricking all the time, and you basically change your finger each time, but they still end up feeling so bruised and battered because you need to finger prick at least when you wake up, when you go to bed, and then before and after every meal. So that's at least 8 finger pricks a day.
Oh my Lord.
So this technology that's been developed, since I've been diagnosed is just amazing. And that's on my phone. It's an app on my phone, so I can just have a look at it.
Yep.
My DSN, which is my diabetes specialist nurse, when we have phone calls or when I go to see her, she can bring up all the data from
amazing.
So interesting. It is very scientific and mathematical, but it'll pull up, if if your blood sugar's quite high at certain times of day. So, for instance, I was always higher after an evening meal, so we had to change my insulin to carb ratio so that it kind of brought that down at that time of day.
Good. It's good that you're monitored for your pattern because it's still individual.
Yes.
There could be 100 people with in the room with a type 1 diabetes, and every single one of you, it'll peak and up and down different times of the day because of your own behaviours, your own eating habits, lifestyle. Okay.
Yeah.
I love a bit of tech. I really do. It is life-changing. It is. That advancement is, it's speed. It's quick to get the information anytime, anywhere. Amazing. If there is one piece of advice you could give to anybody listening out there about type 1 diabetes, or wondering about it themselves, or worrying about it because they're recently diagnosed, what would you say to somebody that's just at that early stages?
I would say when I was first diagnosed, I'd had my miscarriages and everything, and then I was diagnosed, and I just felt like my body was the most useless, hopeless thing. I just felt like I just hated my body, basically. I just was so frustrated.
Right.
I felt like it couldn't do what it was supposed to do. And you just, I suppose, like a lot of people when they're diagnosed with anything, you kind of just feel like nothing good is ever going to happen again. And then I kind of look at everything that's happened for me for the past 7 years, and I couldn't have been more wrong. And I kind of just think, I read this thing once, and it was like, you haven't lived your best days yet. And it's so true. And I think that's just, because diabetes is relentless, you can never rest easy. There's always something to think about. I think that's the thing that makes it worth it, just knowing that there is, you haven't lived your best days yet.
Love that.
Still to come.
No, I love that. And on Nikki's strapline for her business is learn, believe, and achieve. So you can still apply that to your condition. You're learning all the time. In the 7 years, you've learned so much. And starting to believe that there is quality of life still to be had, and your best days are yet to come. And you're achieving great things. And you're here in the podcast sharing information. And I shout out to everybody to send me a text, send me some questions for you, Nikki. And if you're up for it, we'll have a round 2 conversation, because you've just literally given us a taster of what happened, the journey for you, and the advancement of diabetes, technology and tech, and quality of life. But let's see, get some questions, and if you're up for it, we'll have a chat about that and answer listeners' questions, because we need to talk a little bit about family life, work. Your parents, your siblings, is it hereditary? It sounds like your great-grandfather, so I'm guessing it's genetic. There are so many questions I want to ask you. And today was just an introduction just to get to know you, and very grateful for you being just completely open and sharing some sensitive information. And that's what Invisible Me podcast is all about, is just people, really ordinary folks, telling the truth. And there's a little bit, again, it's come across in other themes of a little bit of grief, and that's the grief from the old you before the illness. And for me, I talk about anger, and people say, Pat, I don't see you as an angry person. I'm going, no, it's not that type of anger. It's an internal anger. It's a battle with my own brain and my own thoughts about, I can't do this anymore, and I can't do that, and I kind of internally curse the conditions. And I'm mad that it's taking parts of my life, and I am not me. I'm another version of me, and I have to live with this forever. And then, like you, eventually I flip that on its head and go, seize the day. I haven't lived my best days yet. There's more to come, and there is always improvement, better medication, more advance. So please, folks, do give to charity. Do give to Diabetes UK. The research is really happening. It's real research, and advancements, improvements are definitely taking place, and your life's actually better for the new tech and the new advancements.
100%. And I think the thing is about diabetes is it is a really well-funded condition.
Good.
We are lucky in that way,
Long may it last.
We are really lucky.
Definitely. Nikki, thank you for taking some time out of your busy day. I know you have more students to see for the rest of the day.
So well.
I'm going to get some more information about Nikki's career and her job and put it on attach it to the post to this episode. Nikki, maybe in a couple of months' time, maybe after in the summer holidays when
Yes.
things settle down, come back and we'll answer some of the guests' questions. Would that be okay?
That would be lovely. I'd love to answer some questions.
Yeah.
Because I really like kind of spreading awareness and,
Brilliant. Well, thank you for being the champion for type 1 diabetes. It's been a pleasure talking to you and I've learned a lot. Thank you.
Oh, you too, Pat.
Thank you.